was only about 10 years ago. I had taken pretty much all the money I had in my bank account at the time, and I went and I bought some semi-precious gemstones and some sterling silver, and I sat down to create something that I knew I would be truly proud of. But I had no idea that it was going to really change the direction of the rest of my life in such a profound way. And when I finished making that piece of jewelry, I put it on, and when I looked in the mirror, I really felt a sense of transformation. And I knew in that moment that I wanted to spend the rest of my life running a jewelry company and giving that same feeling to other women. I think I've always been creative. I can remember when I was a little girl loving to do things that would really fuel my creative fire. One of my favorite activities as a child was spending hours with my light bright. My mom would have to literally drag me away from the light bright to come up and have dinner. And if I close my eyes and try hard enough, I can actually still remember that smell of that kind of burnt black paper if you left your light bright on too long. But there was something really special and freeing that came in spending time doing something that just came from your mind and that you could transition into something that people could actually see and touch. So as I grew into an adolescent, I looked for any activity that I possibly could that would give me that same sense of freedom to create. So when I was in high school, I spent a lot of time cultivating that creativity. I dug my mom's sewing machine out and taught myself how to sew and modify clothes. At the time, I worked at the Levi's store, so I had a number of pairs of jeans. So I decided I could be reckless with a few pairs, and I started taking off the waistband and taking out the side seams and adding clothes into the sides of the seams, adding sequins and sparkle, of course. And one day I decided I would be brave and start wearing these clothes. And the reaction that I had from people was that they really liked them. And how that made me feel was a sense of accomplishment and empowerment that people connected with the creativity that I had within myself. And so, I continued on the road of looking for things that would allow me to express my creativity. And so when I was about 23, that's when I decided that I wanted to really start making. I'd been making jewelry for about 10 years prior to that, but I really wanted to start making jewelry that I connected with. And I felt that I connected with pieces that I knew would last my entire life, so investment-worthy pieces. And that's when I decided to take the trip to Edmonton to make this very first necklace that I ever made, which would then turn into the company that I now own. So with the encouragement of some of my friends, I decided that I wanted to start my first jewelry company. Now, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to take creativity and turn that into profits, but nonetheless, I started my first jewelry line. It was called Urban Pearl Accessories, and I was given my first opportunity to showcase my very first collection. So I spent weeks and weeks developing a logo and working on my website and building the content for my website and having business cards printed, ensuring my first table display was just perfect. And I came to that day and set up all of my jewelry, and I was excited, but at the same time, I was a little bit terrified because for the first time, I was going to be asking people to pay me money in exchange for my designs. It wasn't just getting compliments anymore. People were going to actually have to part with something that meant something to them in order to own a piece of my jewelry. And right from the get-go, because I knew that I wanted to create investment-worthy jewelry, I decided that my line needed to be pieces that had semi-precious gemstones and sterling silver, something that I could be very proud of and that women would buy and it would last them the rest of their life. So my very first show, the pieces were $300, $400. So I was a little bit terrified that nobody was gonna actually spend money on my jewelry. But I was very pleasantly surprised to see that I was successful enough at that first show that it kept me busy with orders for weeks after, reproducing some of the pieces that I had made. And that was really the catalyst to me starting the company that I have today. And through my life, I realized the feeling that creativity had given me. And it was a feeling of freedom, a feeling of affirmation, a feeling of empowerment that people connected with the ideas that I had. And so when I started my company, I knew that I needed to embed creativity really deeply into the culture of Hillberg Berk and have that be a really staple and integral part of our company. So I came up with the concept of Oneofakind Friday. Now, when Hillberg Berk first started, you might have been to our store as it stands today, but when we first started, we moved into a 3-story character home in the transition area in Regina, and we were just up on the second floor. And when I first moved into the space, that second floor served as our design, production, my office, sales, and also our showroom. And in the beginning, we tried to cultivate people coming to the store by appointment only by having this event that we called One-of-a-Kind Friday. And what One-of-a-Kind Friday was really our opportunity to stop as a company and maybe set aside things that we had been working on that might be more mundane, something a little bit more repetitive like designing a collection or working on towards an event or something that was maybe a special order, and be extremely creative and allow ourselves to really push the boundaries of creativity. And what we noticed was that One-of-a-Kind Friday really took off, and we started getting so busy at One-of-a-Kind Friday that we needed to start taking appointments for customers to come in the rest of the week. And then before we knew it, we needed to expand our business to the third floor of that space. And then a couple years later, we were so busy with people coming into our store because of the momentum that One-of-a-Kind Friday had created that we decided we needed to open a full-time store, and so that's the store that exists today. But it was very interesting to see how engaged people became in this idea of new designs and creative designs and something completely different that might be something they might never see again, or an idea that might transition into a bestseller for us down the road. So when we first started with One-of-a-Kind Friday, it was really just the creative team within Hillberg Berk working on these innovative designs. And as we got deeper into the success of One-of-a-Kind Friday, what I decided to do was really involve the entire team at Hillberg Berk. And so I issued a challenge to the entire team that everybody in the entire company had to design a piece for One-of-a-Kind Friday. So really the only parameters around the design challenge was that they were given 30 minutes and they had to stay within the parameters of whatever the theme was we were focusing on for the month. So if we were focusing on statement necklaces, then they had to design a statement necklace. And at first, some of the reaction from the staff was a little bit of terror. You know, they weren't sure that they would be able to design a piece of jewelry that would eventually make it into the store and that customers would connect with and buy. But for the most part, we found that that the staff was really excited. And not only were they excited, but the longer we did it, the more engaged staff became in our entire culture and the process from the creative idea and how that transitions into a design and how the design gets merchandised in the store, and then the connection of a customer coming in and seeing that design and putting it on and feeling wonderful and walking out. And it just kind of brought the entire organization together. And we also noticed a proportional relationship to the more we focused on creativity, the more our profits increased as a company. And that's not to say that every design that's created for One-of-a-Kind Friday is a home run hit. We actually have really high expectations of the pieces that we present in our store. So there's some pieces that people design that actually never make it out of production, but we feel like that investment in creativity in our culture and our company has really serviced us well, and it's provided a challenge for our company to continually push the limits of creativity and come up with new and innovative ideas in the world of jewelry design. We've also noticed that some of the people that work within our company that aren't necessarily in a creative position within the organization sometimes come up with the most innovative ideas. One of our team members, Maury, she's the manager of production, and she works in a job that requires a tremendous amount of attention to detail. And so had we not implemented the One-of-a-Kind Friday Design Challenge, we would have never seen Maury's design talent. And every time we have a challenge that Maury participates in, not only is her piece usually the first one to sell, but it usually sells to one of our more elite clients, somebody who would have an opportunity to choose from some of the best pieces we've ever designed. So it's been very powerful for us to really embed creativity into our work culture. And not to say that it hasn't been a challenge for us to facilitate, but it's ultimately led us to greater successes as a company and being able to face the ultimate design challenge, which our company just had recently. About a year ago, I was approached from the Lieutenant-Governor of Saskatchewan, and she asked me to design a piece of jewelry for somebody who I guess I would classify as kind of the ultimate Hillberg Berk customer. I was asked to design a piece of jewelry for the Queen. And although it sort of felt at first like a bit of an overwhelming task for about a day, after our company was able to reflect on all of the things that we had designed in the past and the opportunities we'd had to push ourselves creatively, it became very clear what we wanted to make for the Queen and how we would tie together the design aesthetic of Hillberg Berk with something that we felt she would love and actually wear. So what we decided to design for her was a floral brooch. It had 5 petals. It was a beautiful pink, purple, burnt orange hue, and all of the petals were encrusted with sparkling diamonds, and it was all set into 18-karat white gold. Now, we were completely thrilled with the design, and we felt like it was perfect for her and for her wardrobe. But the true test would be, would she connect with it, and would she actually eventually wear it? So on October 17, 2013, the Queen was presented with our brooch in Buckingham Palace. The Lieutenant-Governor gave it to her, and her initial reaction was that she said she really liked it. She took it out of the package, she picked it up and inspected it, and she told the Lieutenant-Governor that she would wear it and she would send us a photo of her wearing it. But the true test would be, would she wear it? And so a little bit of a background of what goes into the making of the Queen's wardrobe. Every single outfit that she wears and piece of clothing that she wears is actually crafted by a team that put together that look months and months in advance. And however, she personally chooses her jewelry herself every day. So we knew with the amount of time that had to go into putting together her wardrobe, if we did see her wear it at all, it would likely be months, if not years down the road. So the morning I got the call that I found out that she had worn our piece of jewelry, I was actually shocked because it was less than 4 months later that she decided that she was going to wear it. And to me, that was the ultimate affirmation that, you know, we're doing something right at Hillberg Berk. And I believe that the creativity that we've embedded in our culture has not only empowered our staff and our culture, but that empowerment also transitions into the women who come into our store and get that same energy and put on a piece of jewelry and feel wonderful about it, the same way that I did over 10 years ago when I made this first necklace. And so that has to make me sort of wonder, you know, if we were all to dig a little bit deeper into our own personal creativity, what would our community look like? I have to think that it would be a happier and a little bit more of a sparkly place. Thank you.